大家好，我是一件军外套的主持人向政伟，
我是战略所的林颖佑，
我是淡江战略所马准辉。
你想知道93中共阅兵有哪些美角吗？请锁定
一件军外套。
Hello， 大家好，欢迎收看《一件军外套》，每周跟您军事外交 Talk， 我是向政伟，今天要来带大家关心南海。大家印象应该还非常深刻，在8月中旬的时候呢，有2艘中国的船舰在追逐菲律宾海巡舰艇的过程当中，发生了严重的撞船事件。当时发生的经过是这样：一艘是中国海警船，一艘是中国军舰，他们在黄岩岛附近在驱逐跟追赶这个菲律宾海巡舰艇过程当中，那发生的这个海巡舰艇直直往前冲，结果中国军舰呢从旁边这个经过的时候，刚好直接撞上了他的舰首，结果导致这个中国海警船的舰首是整个撞烂，整个消失不见，也造成人员损伤。当时呢一度是在海上停留，无法动弹，引发了国际非常大的关注。那这件事情其实中方他们一直都保持了低调，倒是菲律宾这边他们在海巡舰艇归国返港之后，举办了盛大的欢迎还有加冕的仪式，因为这是中菲在海上这么多年来的冲突过程当中，难得有中国吃瘪并且出现战损的一个情况。那刚提到，其实这几年来看，在南海中菲之间的冲突是非常非常多的。那到底是一个什么样的感觉跟情绪呢？其实我自己在去年的时候，曾经跟着他们菲律宾的民间团体还有媒体记者团到黄岩岛第一线去看他们菲中在海上冲突的第一个现场。说实在，那感觉是非常非常震撼。但是在此之前，我必须先说明一下为什么是黄岩岛。好，黄岩岛这个地方呢，我们必须先说它现在是有国际主权争议的，因为我们中华民国台湾称之为民主礁，那中方称之为黄岩岛。那菲律宾这边呢有2种称呼，英文叫做 Scarborough Shoal， 那在西班牙文叫做 Bajo de Masinloc， 就是马辛洛克浅滩。那也就是说，中菲还有我们台湾其实都对这个岛屿、这个岛礁是有主权声索的。但目前来讲的话，因为中国他们实际掌控着这个岛礁，所以我暂且就先以黄岩岛来称呼它。那它的地点呢，在什么地方呢？其实它就在菲律宾的西部，马尼拉西边大概240公里的地方。那菲律宾一直称之他们在菲律宾专属的经济海域200海里经济海域里头，200海里大概就是370公里。那当然，中国他们说在这个他们九段线的划分里头，这也是他们主权伸索的范围。那在1997年的时候，菲律宾他们曾经率领记者登岛去插国旗，但在2012年的时候，因为台风来了，他们为了要躲避台风，暂时离岛之后，结果就被中国占领，一直维持到现在的这个态势。那为什么黄岩岛这么重要呢？对菲律宾来讲，刚提到他们认为这是在他们的专属经济海域里头，也是他们祖先传统的渔场，是他们渔民的生命线。那对中国来讲，他们在占领黄岩岛之后，他们可以同时串联这个永兴岛还有永暑礁，就可以掌控整个南海的国际运输航道，它也冲击了台湾还有东北亚战略物资的一个补给。好，话说回来，那当天到底发生的情势是什么呢？我们国际媒体跟着他们的船只一起出海，他们船只并没有大家想象的这么豪华，我们不是搭游艇出去的，我们搭的是螃蟹船，就是竹筏做起的螃蟹船。那其实才出航，大概距离黄岩岛才1/3左右的航程左右，就发现有2艘中国船只呢，就朝着我们直直冲过来。这个中国海警船呢，它是航行速度非常非常快，它冲过来的时候，你可以感觉到那种庞大的这种船身朝着你直扑而来的那种压迫感。那当时呢，它是绕到我们船的右方，然后拉到我们后面之后，在一个右满舵来到我们船只的左侧。那另外一艘呢，是在我们船只右侧，形成2面包夹的一个态势。而且不止如此，那种强烈的压迫感，是因为你可以很近很近的看到它那个船身中国海警简体字的这4个字样。除此之外，你可以清楚看到它船首呢，舰首这边有一个30毫米的舰炮，在舰尾有一个直升机甲板，你就知道它的武力其实是不凡的。当时菲律宾海巡署是立刻用无线电告诉我们说，赶快把那个救生衣给穿起来，因为只要一撞的话，这个船只肯定是留不住。那就算是他们用高压水柱冲你的话，这船只也可能会受到这个很强烈的波动，有可能会翻船，可能会翻覆，甚至有可能造成人员的损伤。 伤，所以呢，当时态势其实是蛮危险的。那虽然说最后并没有发生很剧烈的冲突，但是你可以看到，当时除了中国海警之外，远方还有中国解放军的军舰，甚至呢，我们后来从这个卫星图上面看到，他们有3层的贺组，包括了中国海警、中国解放军，还有中国的海上民兵。因此，在这种争议岛屿上面，中国他们其实做了非常多的这种重层贺组跟保护的措施。那这个事件发生之后，菲律宾国内的民情到底是怎么反应呢？还有菲律宾政府未来会如何应对？接下来我们透过视讯来了解当地的情势。好，我们今天要连线的对象呢，是我在菲律宾采访多年的好朋友，他叫 Yasmine Coles。他在我多次在菲律宾的采访经验过程当中呢，给我做很多的帮忙。那他同时也跟很多国际大媒体合作，所以我们今天就来欢迎他来上我们的节目。Hello, Yas, welcome to our show.
Hello, hi Marcos. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how's everything in Manila?
Everything is okay in Manila. The weather is not very nice lately because it's that time of the year we've been getting a lot of typhoons and rains, but generally everything is fine.
Okay, stay dry, don't get wet. Okay, and
Yeah,
I'm very curious about it. Incident just like half months before, and I want to know what is the Filipinos' reaction after the incident on the sea happened, and what do you feel about the incidents?
Okay, so we've been since the Philippine Coast Guard, or at least the Philippine government, has become more transparent when it comes to the incidents that take place in the, let's say, the West Philippine Sea or / South China Sea. Many Filipinos have been responding in a negative sense because they just don't like, or Filipinos do not like, the idea of getting bullied. So many Filipinos are very aware of this. Many are appreciative that the Philippine Coast Guard have allowed media, both local and international, to at least report from the region, especially incidents. Now, about the incident that happened in August, particularly where there was like the dangerous maneuver between the Philippine Coast Guard ship and the ships from China. Generally, you can see online that Filipinos were not happy about it, but at the same time, they were relieved that the damage was not on the Philippine Coast Guard boat.
Yep.
You don't want to be, sour graping about this. Like, well, you get what you ask for, you get what you... But at the same time, we don't want this to happen in the first place. Generally, the atmosphere, or at least the opinion of the Filipino people when it comes to this dispute with China, is that the majority of Filipinos remain to be supportive of the government when it comes to its efforts in defending the Philippine sovereignty. So when there are incidents like this, Filipinos are very aware. But sometimes, or at least there's still a percentage of Filipinos who are not happy with how things are going, in a sense that they also do not support how the Philippines has been responding to this, which means that they don't want the Philippines to stand up for itself, if you know what I mean. I think this pretty much reflects the attitude from the previous administration, where it's more, well, let's say, friendlier to China, where it's more accommodating when it comes to the territorial incidents in the disputed region. And some Filipinos reflect that. But, I think it's really positive, or I'm really optimistic that despite the support for the previous administration, for the Dutertes, let's say, Filipinos remain steadfast when it comes to supporting the government's initiative in defending these territories.
Okay, because I read the news. I saw there's a picture of there's a huge ceremony that the welcoming the sailor back from the sea. And are you worried that the Chinese Coast Guard or the Chinese naval ship will do some more aggressive maneuvers in the future?
I think they're already doing it anyway. But I think they will be more aggressive, resulting from what happened recently, because I think China must find a way to save its face. I think there's a report earlier, I'm not sure if it's today or yesterday, where the Philippine Navy has sighted more Chinese rubber boats that are making its moves near the highly disputed Ayungin Shoal or the second Thomas Shoal. I think they've been blocking the rotation and resupply missions of the Philippine forces for the grounded boat in the second Thomas Shoal. And with the recent reports that more Chinese trawler boats have been making an appearance and probably making some drills, I think it's a sign that we have to anticipate that China will be adapting more aggressive strategies on how it will block the Philippines initiatives when it comes to resupplying and rotating the grounded ship on second Thomas Shoal.
Okay, so I want to know that what has the Philippine government prepared for the conflicts with China? I mean, the maybe more aggressive, like you mentioned, more aggressive maneuvers from China. And what has the government prepared, and what are they going to do, like to acquire more like advanced ships or weapons to equip the Philippine Coast Guards?
So far, the Philippine government has been very active when it comes to filing diplomatic protests to the Chinese embassy. It's always the tool that the Philippines utilize in order to relay our stance that we are not allowing, or we are not happy with how things are developing in these relations, But at the same time, there is now a noticeable shift when it comes to the Philippines' security focus. For most of its history, the Philippines have been more focused on internal conflict. We have problems here at home, like, against rebels and all that. But now there is more, let's say, the focus has been widened to include external factors, which personally I find really sad, because all these years, all these decades, we only have our problems to take care of. And now we have to think of the external factors. And as a result, the Defense Secretary has been very open when it comes to the Philippines' potential acquisition of, I don't want to say weapons, but let's say supplies or equipment to defend itself. So now we have more, we are now also including external defense systems in the country, not just systems in terms of equipment, but also methodologies. Also, of course, we can also see it in the amount of alliances that we are forming militarily with other countries. Noticeably, we are having more and more military exercises, not just with the United States, but also this August, there's Australia, and recently there's Japan. And I think I would expect more countries to have military exercises with the Philippines.
So how do you feel about the exercise with, the unconventional partners?
Of course, personally, it's something that's very different from how things have been in the past. We are generally a peaceful nation. We like peace. We have our problems, but generally we want to fight for peace. So every country has the right to defend itself, its sovereignty. But then at the same time, if there is a way to minimize any conflict, we should do it as well. That's why the Philippine government have been approaching these incidents through diplomatic channels. The diplomatic channels are very active between the Philippines and, let's say, in terms of informing the Chinese embassy here in the Philippines when it comes to the incidents. But at the same time, we are not just sitting back and let things happen through the diplomatic channels. We have to also make sure that when things happen, at least we're prepared. And it's important for us to have these partnerships with other countries so that we will have the support should the time, I don't want to say should the time comes, because nobody wants anything to happen.
Nobody wants that,
Yeah, but, it doesn't hurt to have at least the capacity to defend yourself.
Okay, because because Taiwan and the Philippines we don't have a formal diplomatic ties, but I still want to know that because the Marcos administration has lifted some restriction from the Philippine officials to visit Taiwan. So as far as you know, is there any cooperation or that we are going right now, or we are going to have that kind of cooperation in the future?
I think so far the Philippines remain to recognize the one China policy. But I think what's important recently is that in terms of the cultural and economic cooperation with Taiwan, it is becoming stronger over time. It's an optimistic sign that the Philippine government has lifted the restrictions, I think, earlier this year. And recently, the Philippines participated in a maritime forum, I think, in Taiwan. So I think it's also a sign that we're having partnerships with you're nearer to us, to be honest. Taiwan is very near.
Yeah, just 1 hour flight. 2 hour flights.
Yeah, 2 hour flight. And then when you think about Batanes, the northernmost islands in the Philippines, it's like a boat ride away, So Taiwan is probably one of, Taiwan is the nearest neighbor in the north. And it doesn't hurt for the Philippines to have partnerships or at least participation when it comes to events in Taiwan. I mean, when the Philippines sent officials, like the case of the spokesperson of the Philippine Coast Guard, Jay Tariela, he attended the Maritime Forum in Taiwan, that not only do we have this the right to defend itself, but we also have the right to show the world that this is happening.
Okay. And we also want to see more like people-to-people connections, interactions in the future. And welcome to Taiwan anytime.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to my next visit.
I'll be here in Taipei waiting for you. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much for to be our show. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
好，听出来，其实南海的问题确实让菲中关系非常非常紧张，也恶化。那不只是官方之间，其实民间之间也出现了这样的情势。我印象非常深刻，我当时在一场菲律宾的记者会上面，他们出现了麦克风故障这个没有声音的这个问题，结果我非常意外，现场所有人居然不约而同说啊 ，China made in China， 就是他们那种厌恶中国跟讨厌中国的那种情绪是非常明显的，这让我印象非常深刻。那这件事情，这个冲突其实有一些事件让大家值得留意跟参考。第一个部分是过去中国呢，他们一直炫耀说他们是以下水饺的方式来打造他们船舰跟海上的舰队，但是呢，他们这种快速造舰、大量而且便宜而且快速的这种做法，他们很明显的，他们不是以军规，不是用军用的规格，而是用商用的规格来打造他们船舰，也因此他们的龙骨还有他们船身的耐受性，可能就没有想象中的这么强，也才会发生这一次他们中国海警船一撞上去之后，整个舰首就消失不见的一个情形，又出现了他们战损控管一个很大的问题就暴露出来。那另外呢，也传达出他们的风险意识还有操作水准似乎还没有达到一个水准的一个问题。第二部分的话，你可以看到菲律宾虽然说他们的船只比较小，他们的吨位比较小，但是他们国际宣传是非常厉害的，因为他们整合了13个部会，包括国防部、外交部、海巡署等各个单位，成立了一个叫做西菲律宾海国家工作小组，也就是当这种国际冲突发生的时候，他们可以很快的把影片输出出去，而且国家口径一致对外宣传，也因此在这个冲突过程当中，你可以发现菲律宾在话语权部分其实是明显占上风。那加上目前是菲律宾跟中国关系不好的情况之下，其实台湾跟菲律宾的情势，我们之间的关系是急速的升温。那包括呢，菲律宾开放台湾人免签到菲律宾旅游14天，那他们也开放菲律宾的官员到台湾来的时候，不用再经过各式各样的阻碍，那可以加深台湾跟菲律宾相互各种方面的一个交流，包括在安全领域的交流，都比过去来的更加的深刻。好，但是我知道有很多人会提到说，不要忘记广大星号的事件。确实，在广大星号这个事件发生之后，让很多台湾人对菲律宾留下了不好的印象，也留下了一些印记。那确实呢，我们在跟菲律宾交往的过程当中，你不要认为他因为跟中国不好，所以就跟台湾好，并不是因为这样而交朋友，而是我们有共同的理念跟价值。那我们也希望可以跟菲律宾在南海的部分找到一个共创双赢，还有互利互惠的一个方式，来跟菲律宾来有更深刻的一个互动。好，以上就是这一集的一件军外套，希望对大家都有帮助。那也特别提醒大家，我们已经有开了新的频道，不要忘记帮我们订阅、按赞跟分享。如果有任何问题的话，也欢迎在我们节目下方留言来告诉我们你的想法哦。那我们就下一期再见喽，拜拜。